Will Win or Lose ever get a season 2? Pixar's first original long-form series just wrapped up on Disney Plus this past week, and I've seen nothing but overwhelming praise for this show, and honestly, the biggest complaint that I've seen is that there's not more of it. Because of the structure of the show, where each episode shows a different character's perspective, you could very easily keep going and show the same week through more characters' eyes. I don't really have any tangible proof of this, but part of me thinks that there was supposed to be 10 episodes, and that they originally wrote an episode for Tom and Otto that they weren't able to finish because of either time or budget restraints. But this same concept could be applied to a new set of characters, or you could do it from the perspective of the other team, or the same characters a couple years later in high school. There's obviously endless creative directions you could go if you were to continue the show. But whether or not they could is a different question of whether or not they will, and that I'm not so sure about. A few things to keep in mind here. This show was made by Pixar Animation Studios, the same studio that does their feature films, as opposed to things like Monsters at Work, which was made by Disney Television. These were made and overseen by some of the best animators and creatives in the industry. There was a small but dedicated team working on the show. Pixar does everything in-house, and as Pixar is prone to do, they had to invent new technologies and animation techniques in order to pull off things like the transitions. You also got to keep in mind, they announced this series almost 4.5 years ago, and it took so long because to develop an original series, you have to come up with the concept and develop the script and design the art style and the characters and the animation techniques and find a cast and go through storyboarding and script revisions and just all of the same kind of process you would do for a film. It's a lot more work than just making another Cars short where you already have the characters and animation set pieces. Now, of course, with everything in place now, a second season wouldn't be as time consuming, but you also have to keep in mind Disney's return on investment. Because of how much money Disney Plus has been hemorrhaging on the company, they've had to be a lot more selective with what they greenlight. And 2 weeks ago, The Hollywood Reporter put out an article saying that Disney Plus is going to be halting any of their original long-form animation projects with the cancellation of the Tiana series. That, combined with recent comments from Pixar CEO about them refocusing on financially reliable theatrical releases, makes it pretty unlikely that we're going to see any more Win or Lose. I mean, maybe in a world where Disney didn't make the asinine decision of canceling the theatrical releases of 3 feature films from Pixar in order to boost their premium content for their streaming service, and then blaming Pixar for their financial losses and doing several rounds of layoffs because of their own decision. I don't know, maybe we could have had more creative and original projects like Win or Lose. But instead, we all get to hunker down and wait for Incredibles 5 and Toy Story 7. Thanks, Disney.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.